everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War with the Eras mod. I'm going to start off here by saying that I'm actually a little bit disappointed in you guys, but do not worry, there's a reward in it for you. So, why am I disappointed? Well, a while back I actually snuck in Mountain Blade footage from the Eagle mod for Mountain Blade, which takes place in the Napoleonic War. I snuck in some footage of that into one of the cinematics, but no one commented on it, so I was a little bit disappointed. So, I'm gonna make it worth your while. First person who was able to find the video where I've snuck in some Mountain Blade footage into one of these cinematics and timestamps it in the comments will get to name a regiment. And and obviously people who already have a regiment are excluded. So members gonna see the video before everyone else, so that would be a little bit of cheating. And if you already have a regiment, you're excluded basically. So, there's a great opportunity for you to get your own regiment named after you. So right, go ahead and find this, timestamp it in the comments, and the first one to do this gets to name a regiment. With that said, I said that I was going to do sort of a Rocky-esque montage. It didn't become that much of a montage, but we have two battles that I decided to do off camera, and well, I did sort of on because I've recorded the aftermath anyways. And we've got the siege, the defense of Madrid. So that was the defense of Madrid. Even though the enemy had a 6-pounder, which outranged my 4-pounders, because of the targeting is changed. So normally cannons always target each other first automatically if they are within range. But I think he's changed that around so it's more flexible in what it targets. And I figured out that it's targeted some other infantry unit instead, and I put that in a way that it wouldn't take any harm, and I was able to roll up my cannons within range, blow his cannon away, forcing the enemy to come to me. And in that case, I had 12 cannons with the barrage ability, laying constant artillery fire into them. They didn't stand a chance. So that was the defense of Madrid. Secondly, we have the siege of the fortress at Lisbon. Now, I'm not sure if this sort of Star Wars effect for the cannons from the forts is something that is meant to, or is something that was screwed up in the way that I modded it. But it looks, I mean, it looks super impressive, and you're really like, oh shit, should I even approach this fort? Once you get a few shots at you, though, you realize it's mostly bang and not so much anything else. You don't actually take that much damage from the cannon shots. I would say that it probably, maybe even less than normal. One thing that it is, though, it seems to be... They be firing more regularly, or they fire more than normal forts, I think. But I don't know about this visual effect of it. And so I was able to take the fort because the Portuguese army had actually left Lisbon to protect the port instead. So I took the opportunity, even though my army wasn't completely at full strength, I took the opportunity to attack because they only had the light troops and a handful of cavalry units, and then the rest of it was just armed citizenry. Even with that, it was quite hard to actually break through, and we ended up losing a third of the army in the fights. So out of 3,000, 1,000 roughly died, even with that, even with just the weak troops in there. But anyways, we were able to take that. And with that also, I've been able to forward my troops all over the place. And there's a few other things that have happened that's quite important that we need to talk about. The British are going insane. They have launched 2 armies, which I know of, have landed. And I think, because I've seen the fleets moving this way, there's another 2 on the way. So we could be looking at as much as 4 British full stacks being delivered onto the Spanish mainland. So yeah, we're gonna have quite the tough time trying to defend Madrid. Now at this point, the full stack of Fusiliers have arrived, and I'm thinking here that I will be placing most of the Fusiliers in here, but we won't have room for all of them. But the rest will be placed in reserve behind the town, and the British most likely won't be able to attack them. They won't go around and attack the smaller groups, so I think they're well protected and well set up for a battle. The problem though is, if there's 4 full stacks coming out in succession, it doesn't really matter how many troops I have. Eventually, the garrison is gonna crumble just under the pressure of all of it. Especially since we sort of lack kind of a lot in cannons, and especially in cavalry, which is going to be troublesome. I have started off, but it's far away. Strasbourg in Alsace-Lorraine seems to be the main artillery place, because here is where I can get my 12-pounders. I can't even get them in Paris for some reason. I can get the guard artillery here, but I can't get any 12-pounders. So most of the guns are actually being recruited over here. I think I might... Marseille might be able to. No, Marseille, it's because... Marseille has an ordnance board, so it should be able to, but no. So I guess the main foundry is here. So we're recruiting 12-pounders, and we need to upgrade all the different armies. So that's what's going on there. Currently, Grouchy is still in Portugal, holding it there for a bit. He will be marching to the defense of Madrid. Again, constantly defending that. At the same time, we have now started gathering a proper fleet. I realized that we can, for some reason, only have 10 ships in each fleet, which I'm not entirely sure why that was reduced from normal 20 to 10 ships, but that's how it is now. We've actually got a proper navy now, so we've got a number of ships here. You can see 274. We've got 380, 306 and 122. Currently, the Admiral, Julien Marie, is posted on the Bucentaur class, which is commanded by Kurt as the captain. The Formidable is back. Mastic is in command of that. Youngban, of course, at the Invincible. But we've got new ships for if anyone wants one of the bigger ones. Indomitable has Mattia. Oh yeah, that was the one that was back. Indomitable is the one that's back. Mastic and Kurt were the ones to actually get away from the last battle. And then we have some other ships. These will be sent up here to try, if possible, to fight the British navies. While the other navy, which is comprised of the old Admiral, part of the veteran ship, and then all these frigates. These will be the ones to ship armies off to the islands. So against the Sardinians and the Spanish, finally getting rid of them. The Polish army is now ready to strike at the Sardinians right here. Now the Sardinians are facing heavy resistance to their occupation here. So I could possibly wait that out and allow the very angry populace to strike a blow ahead of me and take a bit part of this army out. Although having, sort of allowing the formation of Spanish guerrillas to form, even if they are defeated right afterwards, is probably not a good plan. So we're better off nipping this in the bud, as it were. Meanwhile, the other armies are moving on. So at this point, the Dutch general has made it all the way to Venice. It's past Venice, and is all the way away to take a position here. There has been some fighting in here, I've seen. An Austrian chasing a Prussian army into this corridor right here. No entirely sure what's going on. They haven't been moving for a while, so they lost each other in the fog. I moved Davout here because the Austrians started to threaten this area with one of their armies. And what I've gone ahead and done is, as we are recruiting the Illyrian skirmishers and the Croat cavalry, they've been moved to the supply depot to protect that, which is good because because Kutuzov turned up with a hussar to go and raid it. So they were able to defend that against Kutuzov, and Kutuzov was wounded and sent back home to Russia. Here we come to the area where Napoleon and Sul has now moved up and are ready to attack. The thing is, as we can see here, they've actually got fort here, which is gonna be a problem, because forts are a big problem. I had so much trouble trying to break through this in Portugal with just armed citizenry. Here we've got proper troops defending this. It's going to be nearly impossible. Now Napoleon, of course, has the old guard artillery, but even at that, I imagine it's going to take like half an hour just to break like one wall to be able to get in, and still that's going to be really difficult. So I think the best thing is to lay siege to the fort instead and just siege them out. So with that said, I'm going to take the weaker of the two armies, and I'm going to lay this under siege. Hopefully they actually sally forth and attack him, in which case I can destroy them in the field. And then the idea here is for Napoleon to head up and take control of this bridge, and then later on move up and attack here, and then hopefully attack towards Budapest. At the same time, of course, we've got the Dutch and Davao ready to move in to aid in this area as well. But what we'll start with is for Soult to move up first. Let's see if he gets intercepted or if he's allowed to lay siege. What I could have done here, actually, is I could have attacked the militia unit here, and in so dragging these guys out. But I feel like that's sort of a very sort of gamey mechanic to win the battle in that kind of way and force them out. It could be anyways that this guy is going to attack me anyways. So that could, you know, produce the same kind of result. But in that case, it's the enemy who does it for me and not me who sort of games the system in my favor. With that, we're going to start with today's battle, which is going to be Napoleon taking control of this bridge. Now, it could be that this army is able to gather support from the army to the north. That's not the case. They've got 2 cannons, a 3-pounder, and then a 7-pounder howitzer, which Napoleon's guard artillery should absolutely destroy. And their cavalry now, they do have cuirassiers and dragoons, but it's nothing compared to Napoleon's squadrons. Enough talking though. If we want to get across the river before nightfall, we better strike, and strike soon. The enemy, of course, having much weaker artillery than ourselves, are forced to cross the river to deal damage to us. As we can see here, their attempt at crossing the bridge is not going too well, as they're meeting the old guard brigade. On the other side, it's not going to fare much better for them, as we've already lined up our troops ready to dispatch them as they're about to cross. Courteous as I am, I allow them to fire the first shot. We killed only 5 on the return volley. The thing about this is, I mean, there's no chance that they will ever, in any kind of scenario, win this battle the way it's being played right now. So, I think that since this is going to be a slaughter anyway, we might as well watch it in a cinematic way, and so I will declare this a victory already. Here's the result of Napoleon's battle at the river crossing. As I said, the enemy did only have 3-pounders, which can't really contend with Napoleon's own guard artillery. So we're looking at only 310 losses for Napoleon's army, while the enemy lost close to 10 times that. 2,800 men. When it comes down to it, even though the cavalry was able to charge down a lot of retreating troops, it's actually Trillier Chasseur Guard that get the most kills. They have very good accuracy. Then we've got the first Cuirassier, followed by the first Lancers, and so on, as you read along here, who killed what. And yes, a very good victory. And we even got a battle marker for that. I mention it so many times now, but I feel like you get battle markers for the most unremarkable battles. I feel like we could probably do the same thing here and just repeat that victory. But I guess we will, actually. I guess we will. They are dug in. Could be a little bit harder for Napoleon to break through there. And the thing is, I'm probably close or over the 30-minute mark, which I tried to do, even though, like, the last video was 1 hour, 15 minutes. I tried to. It's just that I'm not very good at trying. This time around, the enemy controlling the bridge, or the river crossing more thoroughly, they are actually able to cross before I'm able to move up to stop them. So, as you can see, a large part of their army is coming across, and as of right now, there isn't much I can do to directly stop them from coming across. I am reorganizing the army to face this. I did not anticipate that they were going to cross. So the old guard brigade was actually sent towards the bridge. It's now being sent instead to my right flank, and they're going to cover this side. While my army now tries to hold the enemy at bay until the old guard arrives, which we hope is soon. As of yet, the enemy has yet to deploy. I say deploy their artillery. I can see smoke here, so they are in fact firing towards my Imperial Guard. I'm also bringing up the cavalry. We've got the Cuirassiers gonna head up on the left, while we have the Guard Lancers and the Mamelukes moving up on the right. Really what I would like to do is actually cross the river and come up behind the enemy, in that way being able to slaughter them, giving them no good way of retreat. As of the current, we are suffering quite heavy casualties, in fact. Or at least compared to the previous battle. And they keep pulling in more and more troops here. And my artillery, unfortunately, deployed very early, has yet to proven very effective against the enemy. But we'll hope that changes soon. And the more troops that come in, then hopefully this will change. It might be that we have to call in the cavalry attack earlier than expected. Oh crap, the enemy dragoons are back there. The enemy is going pretty hard crossing the river here. I mean, they realize we hold the high ground beyond the river. They can't just sit here and wait for the old guard to turn up, or reinforcements. in general to turn up, so they need to push through and hopefully push through the hill to get somewhere. Unfortunately for them, this is Napoleon's veteran army they're facing. So that's not very likely. They are flanking us heavily over here. We got 2 units. The heavy cavalry needs to be pushed in there immediately. Also, I note here that Forcum has lost tons of troops due to enemy fire. And it's gonna have to be pulled out. And I'm gonna pull out the Dutch troops as well, since they were about to meet a similar fate. They held long enough though that Napoleon's old guard is turning up. And I was just in time to actually order a proper cavalry attack on the troops here. We'll see about Napoleon going out here and rallying the troops. Also the center is starting to look kinda weak due to all the fire here. Or really the entire battle line, because the Austrians went so heavy on it. Right, do the old guard have good firing position? Not really, but however, I cannot really afford to just keep marching into this fire. So we're gonna have to do it like that. Heavy cavalry succeeded in their battle. The enemy is pulling over their horse-drawn artillery. The weaker of the 2 cavalry units will attack, while the other one will set up for an attack on the enemy. The center is weakening as we speak. We're gonna put the extra troops that I have towards the center. The guards are now setting up. I am ordering a withdrawal of these 2. And then we're pulling forward this unit to take its place. Napoleon marching up the 2 weakened units. And the guards are coming in. Which way are they facing? Not the right one, so heavy cavalry should hopefully be able to punch through there and save Izzy's Grenadiers and the 93rd. Charge. He's lining up. I don't know if we'll be able to kind of push past here with Jipilu and the Mamluks. But I think we'll have to, just in time for them to reorganize in a really bad way. I'm ordering in the Lancers then, while the Mamluks will go further back. Okay, so Draghi Chan did manage his charge, but it's he's not broken, the enemy, because he didn't have enough troopers in his attack. Right, cannons at this point, because we got so many cavalry attacks going in, should just hold fire. Right, the fact that my cavalry has now made it in through the back, it's kind of broken up a lot of the enemy infantry, and we got routes all over the place. Heavy losses, but my veterans held. And now I'm going to order for a lot of these troops just a general advance across the river, while the old guard will deal with the last infantry coming up here. What I'm going to do is the 2nd battalion is going to hold fire. There's like a you know, the ridge is going right here, and my guys are up there, so they're not being able to you know, pour the kind of fire that they need to onto these. However, now they should be able to. And the enemy should be broken. Meanwhile, the cavalry is dealing with all the enemies. Actually, oh, cuirassiers. What am I sending off? The Dragichen's cuirassiers, and both my cuirassiers going after both theirs. Someone rallied right here, which is not great. Right, the Lancers and the Mamluks should go after that unit. These three form square, and these two advance. I need to redirect my artillery, or really reposition them, so I can get the enemy artillery out there. The cuirassiers are dealing with the enemy cuirassiers. They're tired though, my cuirassiers, and I fear they won't be able to charge. They're very... yeah, the morale was so poor that even though... I guess the Lancers will go after them. And then I will order the... where's the Mamluks? The Mamluks will be ordered just to hold the river crossing, as the rest of the troops come marching up. And then of course redirecting my artillery to fire on this. Troops being killed over here. Make sure though that the Lancers do not run on, yeah, some of them have run on to these defenses, as they will kill our soldiers. But with that, it's quite clear to see that we are, in fact, victorious. Tired, I guess, but victorious nonetheless. We ended up losing a lot more troops for this battle, 1,000. However, the enemy lost even more, 3,600. So, when we look at it, we lost a third from 3,000. And 1,000 lost leaves us 2,200. The enemy deploying close to 4,000, losing 3,500, leaves them with roughly 280. And if we look at the statistics, it comes down to the Lancers killing the most, followed by the Mamluks, followed by Cuirassier, followed by Tirailleur Chasseur yet again. Although the Tirailleur Chasseur lost a lot of men during this battle, as they had to hold on back the Austrian advance across the river. But it is in fact a victory, a stunning victory yet again. So Napoleon goes and completes 2 river crossings back to back. Now we just need to make sure that we actually capture the Balkans. Once we capture... what is the... I can't remember what the town is. Let's just go ahead and end this. Right, so the road up to Budapest is open. And I have, in fact, enough movement range that Napoleon could go and get the replenishment rate from Croatia. So he get a massive bonus. He'll be able to get his troops back in no time, maybe even within 1 turn. And he should be able to then launch a strike all the way up to Budapest and take that from the Austrians, cutting the Austrian Empire in half. Meanwhile, of course, John Sul is able to lay siege to Belgrade, and since no reinforcements is anywhere close to coming in here, he's going to be forced to sally forth at some point, and we will be able to destroy them. So great victories for this video in total. What we're looking for in the future is, I don't know, as of this point. Well, there's a number of things, but as I oftentimes go around talking about the possibilities at the end of the video, I think it's better to leave them off to the start of the next one, because it's more realistic then, when we actually have the opportunity right ahead of us, than to speculate. But you know where we're going for. Hopefully we can kick the Sardinians, finally, and the Spanish, which is a hope. And then, you know, continue thrashing the Austrians. And so on. And deal with a lot of other things. But for now, this is what we have. And I think we did great for this episode. So, with that in mind, I will say, as I always say, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.